Hello everyone, welcome back to Podcast On Wheelz, episode number 80. As we said on today's episode, please sit back and enjoy the show. We're starting season 5! Oh my god, episode 80, that's wild. And it's Festive episode number 2.
Let's
Can't
go.
believe we're already 2 days in. So we have a bit of topics. These don't really relate to things that have happened like necessarily today or even this month.
Recently, but probably over a year ago.
These are really old topics that we just kind of want to discuss in this episode because typically during Festive episodes, we talk about random stories that happened to us over
years
the course
ago.
over the course of years that we maybe have not been as in-depth about. So,
stuff that happened before we started the channel.
So the first topic is our spinal cord injury and what our movement has been over time.
Yes.
So, if you don't know, me and Donnie have spinal cord injuries, and we've been having spinal cord injuries for a while.
Yes.
So, I'll discuss mine because mine is, like, pretty, not complicated.
We'll just go over the short route on what...
So essentially, I became a paraplegic incomplete T10 on June 1st, 2017, due to the fact that I had FND, or functional neurological disorder, where basically your nerves don't want to really act right. So that caused my nerves in my T10 to be paralyzed incompletely, essentially. So I still thankfully had some function enough, able to walk, but I couldn't really feel all too well, kind of like below the thigh. So I could still walk with like my AFOs and my walker and all these other equipment, but I still had to use a manual wheelchair from time to time if it was a longer walk. So I was paralyzed then. That was in 2017, so almost 9 years ago.
God damn.
That's wild. It's been over 8 years for a few months now. Shocking. So that was my first injury, and that happened in 2017, June 1st. And then in 2019, June 1st, ironically, again,
what the hell?
I became a quadriplegic due to amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and the same FND that affected my C8 nerve incompletely. So I became a C8 incomplete quadriplegic, and ALS was weakening my nerves and killing motor neurons, so I shortly became paralyzed. I could still, thankfully, walk, shockingly, but it was way, way, way less than I could have.
Yes.
People had to help assist my hips up. Like, if I wanted to walk, people would have to, like, I would hold on to the walker and someone would lift my jeans or my butt up, and then I would take teeny baby steps. But I had walkers, I had manual wheelchairs, I had power assist wheelchairs, I had power wheelchairs, I had AFOs, I had like electrostimulation to help me walk. So I had a bunch of stuff just to take what seemed like a teeny step.
Yes.
And then my most recent quadriplegic injury was in September 2021, the September 1st. So it's been almost 5 years. Shocking.
God damn.
But it's been more recently 4 years since that incident. And the reason I got that was simply due to the fact that because I was a quadriplegic back in 2019, and could still kind of walk, I decided that I wanted to walk down the stairs because I just had a large seizure, and typically I'm pretty thirsty after my seizures. I was like, okay, let me just go downstairs because the kitchen's downstairs. I was like, let me go get me a glass of water. My brother, was like, no, like, I can get it. And I was like, no, I can get up and walk. So he help assisted me, and I decided to not use any of my medical equipment to help me walk. And so I just kind of grasped onto the side of the walls. But mind you, because I'm a quadriplegic, my grasp wasn't that strong. And as I was towards the start of the stairs, my foot slipped. And unfortunately, I fell down all 8 steps. And broke my C3 vertebrae, my C4, my... Am I C5? Fuck. I have too many dang injuries. So C3, C4, maybe C5, C8, and T1. So I damaged my C8 nerve a lot more than I had initially did in 2019. So I became a C3 incomplete, C4 complete, C5 complete, C8 complete, T1 complete quadriplegic from that incident. So I gained about like 4 or 3 new injuries. But I just count myself as a C3 quadriplegic because...
That's the highest one you have.
That's my highest
one. It affects you the most.
Yeah, that's my highest one. It affects my diaphragm and everything. I've been quadriplegic for over 6 years now. This quadriplegic I've been for 4 years. The last quadriplegic I've been for 6, almost 7. What the fuck? And my paraplegic I've been almost paralyzed for 9 years. Absolutely shocking. But if we wanted to go into medical equipment and all our movement, it's in the topic. So basically, essentially, my movement as a paraplegic back in 2017 was I could kind of get up on my own because I had some core function. I had primarily all my top core function, but the stability of my core was shitty because I damaged my T10, which is part of the obliques, which help balance. And part of the core muscles and ab muscles, so I damaged that. But it was incomplete, so I still had some preserved function. So I could still take steps and walk, but I had all my triceps, all my biceps, all my finger function, most of my core, so I was pretty much all good. And for sensation-wise, I think I couldn't feel from like there was patchy sensation from the hip down, I believe. It's been years since it, so if I get something wrong, I apologize. And then in the quadriplegic sense of 2019, I had faulty sensation from chest down, so kind of like my nipple or my armpit, I had faulty patchy sensation. But on my hands and arms, actually, I could feel a lot of everything. And I had minimal tricep. So I could still kind of push things with my actual tricep and move my tricep and move my bicep. I had 2 ways of tenodesis, meaning I could curl my wrist in and, curl my wrist up, if that makes sense. So, I had both forms of tenodesis. So I basically had full wrist function. And I had been a paraplegic for 2 years at this point, and I still had tenodesis until I lost the function of tenodesis in 2021 when I became a way higher quadriplegic than C8. Since then, I at first was paralyzed from the neck down. I had no function to my diaphragm. I had to be on a ventilator 24/7, and I was in the hospital for 8 months, rehab for 7, 22 months, I don't even know. And so I had no function from the neck down. Now, I still have no sensation from the neck down, besides on my hands. Now, I don't really know if you would still call me paralyzed from the neck down or from the chest down, but I was very, very, very fortunate enough with the level of my injury to regain thumb function, thumb sensation, and top hand sensation. I have no tenodesis, can't move my shoulder, can't move my elbows, can't move my bicep, can't move my tricep, can hardly move my head, still on a ventilator, but that's due to ALS. But other than that, I regained finger function, or one thumb, not all finger function, just thumb sensation, thumb movement, and top hand sensation when I was about 17 months injured, I think.
You regained that?
Yeah, I want to say because I was injured September 2021 and regained thumb February 2023. So I was about 1 to 2 months into rehab at that time. So I think I was wanting to say 18, 17 months paralyzed when I gained my first bit of function. And ever since that, I'm 51 months paralyzed now, something like that. So I've had that function for a while now.
Yes.
Almost 3 years in February of 2026, I'll have that function. Shocking. So that is my quadriplegic, my paraplegic. Well, that is my paraplegic, my quadriplegic, and my quadriplegic injury, all in different years, all 2 years apart, 2017, 2019, and 2021, and all my function, my sensation, and my movement to the best of my memory. And now Donnie can explain his, because...
Yes. So mine is not as complicated as hers, but
God.
It is still very complex. I never had any sort of injury before 2018. Just because I didn't really get a spinal cord injury, I had other issues, but not really movement-wise, and I had full able-bodied strength and everything.
And sensation.
I could walk, I could run, I had full sensation, but on February 1st of 2018, because of the condition spinal stenosis, this basically causes pressure and nerve damage in my spine, and it eventually, either in rare cases, leads to injuries, which unfortunately I'm a rare case. So, February 1st, I said September.
September.
What the hell?
That's my injury, September.
February 1st of 2018, I injured my L4, L5 completely, where I had to...
And that is the lower lumbar.
Yeah, I had
vertebrae.
I had no sensation from the knee down, not in single ounce. I had choppy movement. I had no movement from the knee down as well. And, I had a bit of a limp or choppier movement from the hips down. But I could still walk with braces, rockers, stimulation.
So technically me.
So it took a long time, and it took a lot for me to walk. And I used my manual chair on and off throughout those years. And I just basically lived with that spinal cord injury. My body strength went down to, I think, 140% or something like that. I don't know. Half my legs were gone. So, not actually, now they're literally gone. But back then, they weren't. So
the function of half his legs are gone.
Yes. But that was basically my movement then. And then I went all the way until 2022. So, about 4 years later or something like that. I got, unfortunately, SMA, which drained me of all my body strength, and I became like a quadriplegic-like state.
And spinal muscular atrophy is simply a condition that causes your muscles to weaken over time due to just degeneration of something.
Yes.
I don't really know what. I'm not that educated in it, but I have it. But
I have SMA, and I got diagnosed in 2022, and basically it deprived me from all my body strength, and I, at that point, lost the entire function of my legs. I still had full sensation, by the way, but I lost the entire function of my legs, and by 2023, early 2023, I only had like half the use of my arms left. I could barely move a finger or two. The other half of my arms, so my arms were like maybe 10% strength. My legs were 0% strength. My core was 0%, so I have very weak body strength. I was probably maybe in the 20% section in early 2023, so about 3 years ago. And so it put me in a quadriplegic-like state 4 years ago, or 3 years ago. And then over time, I just got attached to a tracheostomy, which became my permanent airway because my airway was weakening. And I had to get a ventilator attached to it until I decided I didn't want the trach or the tracheostomy anymore, but that was a very grave decision. I kept getting lung infections, and I had to immediately get back on the trach less than 4 months later after that decision to recover my airway, and I immediately put back on the ventilator only days after the trach placement. And I just basically been living with a ventilator and trach for like 2+ years straight, never getting it out. And I went on different type of ventilators. I went on a BiPAP ventilator where I would wear either throughout the day and night. And then I wanted to have the trach ventilator, but then I realized that wasn't the best option for me. So I switched back to the BiPAP ventilator, and now I got the pacemaker in 2024 September because I had very weakened movement from now ALS and SMA, where it deprived me of a severe weakened quadriplegic-like state. And then September 1st of 2024, because of spinal stenosis again, I got an actual quadriplegic C1, C2 spinal cord injury where my diaphragm is gone. I have no sensation from the apple tune down.
Or Adam's apple.
And I haven't regained sensation. I haven't regained movement either. And my lung function's only 1%. It used to be about 3 or 4% when I got the injury about almost a year and a half ago. But, of course, things happen and everything, so now I live with a pacemaker full time, and my trach is still my airway. If I'm having trouble, I either go on my BiPAP, or we have a tracheostomy ventilator that connects to my trach when I'm having a hard time. But other than that, I take medicine, and I have a non-invasive ventilator that I wear on my face. And then I have the ventilator inside of me, which is my pacemaker, which is ran by batteries, and that helps me breathe and connects to my pharynx nerve, and literally is my lungs and diaphragm for me. So that's my movement over time. I've been a very severe, very weak quadriplegic-like state for 3 years now, and since 2022. And I just basically live with severe weakened movement, and now my body strength has been 0%, like actually nothing, no twitching, no nothing. Like there's not even a percent calculated since December of 2024, so over a year now I've been like that. So that's my movement over time. I've been very weak for multiple years, but my journey started about 8 years ago.
So, speaking of a trach and all this BiPAP stuff, so essentially I got diagnosed with ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, in January 2017, 6 months before I became a paraplegic. So essentially I had a BiPAP a month after I became paraplegic, so July of 2017. I got a BiPAP, so it would go on my face at night and I would sleep with it. Unfortunately, my breathing got down to 40% in January 2018, so I required now a tracheostomy. I got that tracheostomy tube and I still have it. It's been almost 8 years, 7 years and 12 months as of currently, or 11, something like that, and I primarily haven't had too much different breathing things. I've had a diaphragmatic pacemaker. I got that when I was injured in 2021, September, and then got it removed December 2022. So I had it for about 15 months.
Yep.
And I've had it removed way longer than 15 months now, which I'm very grateful. But I do have an invasive ventilator attached, or a ventilator attached to my tracheostomy for over a year now. It's been hardly a year though, but I've had about 38, 37 months on a ventilator throughout my whole life. And yeah, that's probably it. And that is primarily our movement and function and how long we've been having our STI. I honestly, it's kind of shocking how long we've been injured. I really don't think about it until we talk about it. I'm like, damn, I'm that injured?
Yes.
Well, I've been injured for that long?
There we go.
Okay.
Cut that out.
If you heard that scream, I had to get it. Our audio wasn't working. We apologize.
No.
So essentially, the second topic is what medical equipment do we use in our wheelchairs? So we have a bunch of medical equipment. It really comes down to what medical equipment we use in our wheelchairs. So our wheelchairs is what we drive and sit in every single day without fail.
Yes.
So of course, we're going to need a lot of medical equipment throughout the day as we just go throughout our day. So the primary medical equipment that I have in my wheelchair, if I can truly remember, with different straps, I have a chest strap, I have a leg strap, and I have a head strap. Head strap is to keep my head from falling around. I don't wear it 24/7, don't worry. But I do have it when I'm actually moving in my wheelchair. But staying stationary, I don't really need it.
Yeah.
But when I'm actually moving in my wheelchair, I need a head strap. I have my leg strap to prevent crazy spasms, and then I have my chest strap to prevent my cord from falling, and I also have osteoporosis, so that makes my bones actually weaker and more brittle. So having a chest strap is way healthier for my body than not having one. So those are the first three. And then shockingly, I don't have much. I have a tailored joystick that is tailored to about 1.4 or 1.3. And then I have an accessible button that also helps me use my chair for a longer amount of time. I think it goes down to 0.7, that joystick. So having that joystick is really nice for me because I can use my chair when my joystick goes out of commission. And I can also, with that accessibility button, I can control my talking device. So essentially that does help me a bunch. A lot more than people necessarily think, because it's such a good accessibility tool to be able to control my talker from a far distance, because I can easily talk. And that is, I also have in the back of my wheelchair, I have a few catheters, and I have some antiseptic wipes, and I have my ventilator machine, and I have some extra spare syringes in there or something like that. So
just a bag to hold medical stuff.
A little back of, there's a wheelchair bag on the back of my wheelchair, essentially holding some of my medical necessities, extra diapers, extra catheters, extra antiseptic wipes to clean the, area before a catheter, or just my tubing that I have, and some just extra stuff. So I shockingly don't have a lot, but I do have a lot more medical equipment, but that's just what I carry on my wheelchair primarily. Yes. And if Donnie reminds me of things, I'll say that.
So the medical stuff that I've been having on my wheelchair for quite a while, I've been having this new wheelchair for, I think, about over a year and a half. So April of 2024, I got this new wheelchair almost 2 years ago. Works like a dream. I can move super easily in it. But the medical things that I've been having added is a motor on the side. Basically, this just makes it much easier for people to push my chair and me to move my chair, so it makes it more lighter and more motor assistive technology to make me move forward easier, as I am very, very weak. And so that was the first thing that was added. And then we got these hooks that have clip-ons, and now you can add any medical devices, book bags, or something like that. Now using the hold tubes in place, or wires from the buttons. And this blue one, I'm just explaining to y'all while looking at my actual chair. This blue one holds this button that turns on and off my chair. Now, you literally just hear with the click of a button, I'll go here. I'm actually in my chair. Basically, there's a button on the side. It's pretty big. People can press the chair off just to push it in manual mode or turn it off completely, because it's easier for them to push when it's not on and like powered. So that's what they do. They just turn it off. And to turn it on once more, you just press the button twice, and then it makes the person in the chair be able to control it via joystick or sip and puff. I use a sip and puff personally, because I can't use the joystick anymore, but you just press it twice, and you just put it back down, and this turns back on my chair. And now, everybody person, it's a lot harder for them to move my chair. They can, but it's a lot easier when it's turned off, bringing down the harm levels lower, meaning they're more safe when using the chair. And for me, in the front, I just have mats, your usual, your backrest, to hold me up. That's normal in every wheelchair, I believe.
Most wheelchairs, not every.
And then I have a customized seat cushion that just basically fits my small butt and makes my hips and everything and prevents pressure sores, so it's a very good cushion. And then I have a chest strap overlapping my chest so my core stays up. What are you laughing about?
It's just, I found it funny, like, how he's going so in depth. Like,
yeah, I know.
And I'm just like, okay, I have this strap, and
yeah.
it's just so funny to me.
Yeah, and then...
Not that it's wrong.
I just have the average backrest of a wheelchair. Normal, we already explained that. Then I have a headrest where my head lays, and then over that, I have a head strap, which there's an original black strap that used to fit over my head, but if I need a more customizable one, I also have that one as well, so that always sits in the back of my chair. So I have a head strap, a headrest, just an average backrest, which is more customized to my spine, because I have scoliosis, and then I have a customized seat cushion.
Yep, to help us prevent pressure sores.
And I have a joystick. I don't use this. Sometimes it releases my hands off my lap if I really want it, but I can easily move it out the way if I need to. And then I have a sip and puff, which and I use my sip and puff mainly to suck, puff, blow, to move forward, back, turn around, weight shift. It took me a while to get used to it. I was so rickety when I first got it in June of 2024. So about a year and a half ago, I got the sip and puff, and now I'm almost a pro at it. So I'm doing pretty good. I have my slip-ups here and there, but I'm doing really good with my chair. That's kind of all I have. Recap, I have a specialized motor, on and off button, customized back rest and cushion. I have a headrest, a sip and puff, a head strap, chest straps. I don't have a buckle because my chest straps literally is my buckle, to be honest. And then I have, I could attach a customizable bag if I want to, but that's pretty much all my chair insight, and nothing fancy, but that's just my chair.
So I primarily have most of his things. There's a little button on my joystick to turn on my chair. And I also have a different joystick. It's a bulky one where you can turn on a button and you turn on my chair. So basically all the same mechanisms. The joystick might look a little different, but it's primarily the same. It does the same functions. So essentially we almost have the same things. I have a special gel cushion to avoid pressure sores on my butt because I'm sitting on it most of the day, literally all day.
Yes.
Besides when I go to sleep, but I'm still on it. So it has like this gel compact little foam thing, and I sit on it, and it kind of shifts my weight around periodically, and I can do a weight shift every 15 to 30 minutes to an hour at maximum.
Yep.
And that is primarily our chair.
Yes, that's our chair rundown.
And what we have on it and what we store in it, technically. Yes. I don't store a lot.
I don't store a lot, but I just barely keep my glucose, my insulin, an extra Omnipod, suprapubic catheter,
an extra G-tube, God forbid mine just falls off.
A trach, so, and I have that all in my house, so
peg tube extension.
Yeah, I just bring extras just in case if we're on an outing.
Just bring extras and hope you don't die.
Oh my God. Yes.
Okay, so the third topic is the wave pool is cursed. And
we'll just go through this very quickly. But
and you're thinking, what do you mean wave pool? Y'all don't have a wave pool? Yes. When we when we go to Great Wolf Lodge, our family goes to Great Wolf Lodge trips periodically throughout the years. We've gone a bunch.
We haven't been almost in a Great Wolf trip in almost 3 years.
Shocking.
Holy shit. I can't believe it felt so quick ago. I don't understand.
I know. So essentially, what we mean by the wave pool. At Great Wolf Lodge, there is a wave pool, and it's pretty big, and eventually there's a bunch of people start to accumulate in that wave pool.
It's so cold.
And it's freezing frigid. But we will tell you their short rundown of stories. The reason why we think the wave pool is cursed is the worst pool incidents have only happened in that wave pool.
Exactly.
So, Chili...
Well, I wouldn't say the worst.
No, we've talked about it.
Me and my husband were very unfortunate in water.
Anywho, our crew member, or our friend, Chili, who is a C7, C6 quadriplegic, complete. He wasn't a quadriplegic. He was able-bodied at this time. This was about 4 to 5 years ago, I think. I don't know how.
I don't know when it was. It was about maybe 2021, 2019. I don't know.
Something like that.
It's a couple years, like over 3 years ago minimum.
Yeah, and Chili was hanging on to the edge, and I want y'all to know that we were not really comfortable going underwater at this time. Not unplanned, really.
Unplanned going underwater.
So, when we're prepared to go underwater, we're having a blast. They cover up my nose, I'm chilling, and I think I was still a quadriplegic at this time. I was. So, I was hardly hanging on the edge, right, of the little wave pool.
Yes.
And there was a girl in goggles, I think must have been closing her eyes or something, and grabbed my ankle, and grabbed Chili's ankle, and started pulling.
Oh my God.
Because she thought it was one of her friends.
Yes,
and
mine was...
with all her strength. Like, because she was playing. She was being funny. She grabbed my ankle and tugged as hard as she could. And my face, half my face, was going underwater.
Oh my God.
My eye was about to touch the water. And she kept pulling.
Like, this was like...
As my nose and eyes were almost underwater. I was like, help, help, help. I was literally screaming help. Because I was terrified. Because she had a death grip on my ankle, dude. She had 2 hands on that one ankle and started pulling.
Did any lifeguard notice or no?
No, I don't think so. I think they were... It would probably look like played.
Because she wasn't doing any harm. She didn't mean to. I think they were just playing a game. She thought that was one of her friends. You know, simple mistake. And she was younger than us. We were like 13?
Something.
I don't know.
However,
it's 5 years
she had a death grip on my ankle, and I couldn't feel her at first, but Chili could.
Yes.
So he felt the death grip of hands. It felt like a tight grip, and started pulling his leg and my leg. We were like, help, 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 help. We were screaming. And we literally had tears in our eyes because we were being about put underwater, and this was like a day after I found out I could go underwater, so I was not comfortable at all.
Yeah, and I think how I witnessed it was, I think, I don't know where I was. I think I was either in the bathroom or something.
You were in the pool.
I don't know. I was in the pool.
And we could hardly swim.
I looked over. At this time, I didn't have SMA or anything, so I wasn't a quadriplegic. I was still a paraplegic. So this time,
but you could swim.
I was swimming over, and I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I said, "Let go, let go." Yeah, and she like shut up. She looked kind of nervous, and she's like, "Oh, sorry." And I was like, "No, you're fine."
No.
Or something. She just went away before I left.
When Chili, he tried to get her off, and his leg accidentally hit her arm. He didn't mean any harm by it. He was just like scared, like, "Get on my ankle. I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm so sorry. I'm not like who you think I am.
I don't know you.
And I don't know you. I love that.
That's my part. I don't know you.
I love that. But Chili accidentally hit her arm. It didn't cause her any pain. He hardly kicked.
And she's trying to swim away.
And she saw her and she just swam away. But that was so scary. We were so shooken up after that. I get it. It was a harmless mistake, but it was so scary because we were about to be dragged our ass underwater. Because that was like a few hours after we had learned how to go underwater. Like, oh yeah, we finally got comfortable. And within hours of being comfortable, we almost got dragged underwater with no goggles and not plugging our nose. Yeah. Because we couldn't, because we were hanging on the edge.
Anyway.
So scary. And that happened in the damn wave pool.
Mine was fairly recent. Also, 2023 was a terrible Great Wolf trip for me and my husband, alright? The first incident
Jesus.
was...
You're okay.
Mine was deliberate. Me and my husband this was 2023, I was definitely a quadriplegic-like state. I was very, very weak, had below 20% body strength. My husband was able-bodied at the time, so he was standing up, and my wife was carrying me in the wave pool as the waves were just slowly drifting by. Are you okay?
Yeah.
She kept looking the other way and kept looking
I was just looking at the
events.
tablet and the computer to see if they were still charging.
Anyway, my husband, a 10-year-old kid starts to come up, and he has this malicious smile on his face.
It was so scary.
It was so, his eyes, I dead ass, because Doc was right there, and I feel so bad for me, my husband, in this incident. Lifeguards do not care.
They do not.
They do not care.
They did nothing for
They
us.
did nothing.
And I get
And
it.
mine were deliberate situations. Like, you needed to save me right in that moment. Seriously.
It's scary,
What you're about to hear. A 10-year-old kid comes up out of actual nowhere. We didn't see him in the wave pool when we entered.
No,
and we didn't see him in there for 10 minutes when we were in there.
And I must say, we were in a warm pool all day like that. There's a other pool that's pretty warm.
Yes.
And we decided, and Donnie loves the wave pool.
I was like, I'm going to experience the wave for at least 10 minutes.
He was like, yeah, but dog, it's going to be fine. Just go to the wave pool. I kid you not, 10 minutes of my recollection, it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
There's a random ass child.
He was like almost as tall as me, okay? I'm a small person. Me and my husband are very lightweight. We look like a 12-year-old, and our age is way over 12, almost doubling a 12-year-old, and he came up with these bulging eyes.
He had a malicious smile.
He had an ear-to-ear grin, and he looked up and down, and I was like, oh, hi. And I said,
hi, and William was being silly.
He was being silly. It's a little kid. What is a little kid going to do? It's like, oh, hi, and he's just, playing with the kid. Whatever, fine. Immediately, the kid hugs the waist of my wife.
Of my husband.
And my husband. And he is about the same size as my wife at this point. She was 94, 101 pounds at maximum. She was tiny for her height and weight and age. So he started pulling her under. He gripped her waist. He gripped her thighs
and waist
around her waist and pulled with all his might.
Now you have no leg to kick. You just kind of have
yeah. Now, what was bad, we didn't have our legs to move, right? All we had was our core and the gracing of a 1-inch rail. And we were in the 4-foot end. That's what made it worse. My height is 5 foot. If I'm lying down, I'm 4 feet underwater. Baby, get up. I can't swim. I could swim, but I was disabled like hell, so I couldn't swim. So my wife and husband has to swim up with me in the water. So we're pretty much in a full under advantage. And if a 100-pound kid is pulling you underwater, that's kind of hard to swim 4 feet up from fully lying down.
Because I could sit at the bottom of the pool, but not
4 feet?
Yeah.
Underwater, yeah. That could submerge her entire body underwater. That's how deep it was. And so
my husband could, sorry.
Yes.
He would grab my nose and grab me and then put me on his waist, and then we would sit our booty on
immediately
the pool. Hard to do that.
Sydney starts kicking as best as she could and got out of the kid's grasp. He finally let go and she started screaming help. And he just, as Sydney was almost crying because she had just barely gotten in the pool and got gripped by her thighs and waist, pulled underwater. Then her ear went, and I almost went underwater. She was so close.
Chilly.
Barely inches away from underwater. And while screaming help, a lifeguard just stared at her.
Yeah, that's what they did. A lifeguard looked at Chili and me and just went,
yeah, no.
Okay.
The lifeguard just looked and glanced at us.
They could ask if she was okay.
And no one asked, and we just heard people kind of laughing in the background. So we heard laughing in the background. A kid, a big-ass kid, mind you. He was abnormally tall. And he was almost my weight, okay? No offense. He was 12 or something. He was 10, I think. He looked that age.
After Cindy had left,
that kid was smiling. He was looking at her the whole time.
No, hold up. He just kind of stared at her as she walked out. And then Doc. And I was there, and my wife was there, and we were kind of strolling across the water. And he went, and he stared at me and began to smile and kind of walk towards me.
Like, oh, hell no.
And Matthew said, nope, no, do not. And I love how my husband said, do not.
Do not.
And he started walking, but the kids are
Creeping.
shifting towards him.
Yeah.
And we're shifting every step Matthew took. And we.
Yeah.
And he started, like, he had this impersonation of his hand, like, fake holding a knife. And he.
Yeah, I forgot to add that point.
Yeah.
The kid looked like he was doing a fake knife at me and my husband and my wife, and we got gripped by the thighs and waist and got pulled under almost. And after that, he was staring at us the entire time we were walking back. That was so scary. And that same afternoon, as if my luck wasn't terrible enough, some boys were laughing at us because they figured out that I was the one in that pool, and they traveled and followed me to the different pool and started pointing and laughing at me. Like, I almost got dragged underwater. A random kid grabbed my waist and thighs, especially my wife and my husband's, and then stared and tried to stab my ass with an imaginary knife, smiled like a psychotic smile, laughed at me as we were walking out the pool.
And the boys were being so mean.
Yes, and then some boys followed our ass to a different pool, started pointing at my wife and laughing at her because she was almost in tears and shaking because a random kid came out of actual nowhere and grabbed her. That's so scary. I don't know. And we're sensitive, so that makes it worse. So 3 other boys had started following my wife and stalked her. Like, I kid you not, this happened in one afternoon. And then I think the next day after all that, we went underwater for the first time. Choked on the water because our body had a nervous reaction.
No, that was the day before.
The day before, and held the water, and we choked and aspirated, and we got water.
Didn't that happen in the same day?
I think.
Because,
oh my God!
They choked down the water because, I'm going to tell this really quickly because we've been talking about this for a minute.
Oh.
And that's okay. When I was a pestering little...
After all that, let's just say, after almost, a kid has a psychotic smile toward you, almost stabs you with an imaginary knife.
But looks like he's holding one. But
looks like he had the menacing smile.
He had that.
I can never get it out of my head.
He had that menacing. It's not like a funny smile.
No, it's a psychotic one.
It literally looked like menacing.
Yes. And then, all of a sudden, I was in my wife's arms, my husband, my wife were there, and he grabbed our thighs and our waist and pulled us under with all his might. He almost laid on top of us underwater 4 feet down.
And he kept staring at my husband, and then the boys...
Yeah, and then three boys started lurking and following us to another pool. They showed up an hour later after that and showed out of nowhere.
Where did they go? Like, where were they? They never knew that scene.
Exactly. People were out to get us that day. And what made it worse is that same day, 30 minutes after the situation to an hour when we were finally calming down, Doc was being pestering and wanted us to go underwater. I was like, fine. Yeah, I almost had another traumatic experience just an hour ago, but sure, I'll go underwater. And
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, my husband and me were underwater. Our body had a nervous reaction. We inhaled water and got it stuck in our throat and started full on choking.
I couldn't breathe.
I couldn't breathe. I was gasping for air. I couldn't talk. I was doing... And a lifeguard was staring at us.
And they just went...
I was doing the intermittent choking sign. My wife's hands were up to her throat.
The universal choking sign.
We couldn't talk. We couldn't breathe. We couldn't breathe or talk for over 20 seconds. We were literally actually full on. It was a full blockage in my throat.
Yeah.
And my husband's throat and my wife's throat. And all a lifeguard Doc was looking around if people would actually help. Poor Doc, because she has emetophobia, so she doesn't want this. And she was like, okay, I need to ask for people help. And she was like, help, help. And
yeah. Wait,
everyone around backed up off of us. Yeah. No one helped us. There was 10 feet gaps between other people, so I was 10 feet alone.
Because, let me say something. So, I have, obviously, emetophobia, and for some odd reason, no matter how much I want to help, my body just damn rejects.
Fear takes over.
My fear takes over, and I'm sitting covering my ears. Somebody help! Somebody help! Somebody help!
She's choking!
Help!
She's choking! I was in the pool.
And I, in July this year, kind of experienced a fraction of what he experienced. I had liquid in my mouth, and that liquid shot up my damn throat. It wasn't water, it was my soda that I was drinking, and I kind of breathed in, because I choked on the bean, so I breathed in the soda.
Yeah.
and it got all caught, lodged my middle of my throat, and and I could not get a breath in for like 20 seconds, and that felt terrifying. Not a whole gallon of water. No,
it was a sip of water and some beans, and eventually after her gag reflex kicked in, and she immediately
so did Donnie's.
Got free blocked. Mine was stuck. My throat.
You gagged and eventually spit out water. What would have happened?
I was underwater and breathed in. No air could get past.
Yeah, no.
I aspirated at the same time, too.
Me too. Because I had taken the sip of soda, and I kind of...
Yes.
Because I was, like, kind of getting full, or... I felt, breathing in is kind of the same as gasping. So I had the beans. I was like, it's kind of stuck in my throat. Let me get a soda. And I kind of done this.
And then breathed in and choked.
And all that soda went in the middle of my throat and blocked it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even cough.
No.
Until at one moment, my big ass gag reflex triggered it. And I literally gagged 3 times. And if I would have probably allowed that full gag to happen, I'm sure I would have thrown up.
Yeah.
And then I kind of aspirated on it, so it kind of hurt in my lungs.
Yeah.
And my whole throat singed sore. Oh my goodness. So it felt like this big pain spot.
Yeah. So basically she experienced my version, thankfully not as severe.
I guess.
I'm so glad. But I was stuck there. Bad. There was 3 lifeguards, a pool full of people, and not one person helped me.
Jesus Christ.
Like, and those same boys pointed and laughed after I choked. I want to go home. Really?
Why?
So, and that same other day, I fell off the float from the slide. So I choked, got stopped, got grabbed, and fell off a slide. Or on the float on the slide. In one evening.
God.
So, and that's our last great rough trip ever. That was terrible. And I don't recommend it. That was terrifying. Doc is still mad to this day that no one, not a single soul helped me.
Yeah, that's so annoying. Why did nobody help you?
My poor Alice was already having the worst day, and on top of that, no one would help me. A lifeguard was 3 feet away from me on the edge. Literally, a lifeguard was standing on the edge, just singing. I can't breathe. I couldn't come. And a lifeguard, what made it worse was he was literally 3 feet away from me. He was literally less than 30-some inches away from me. I still didn't help.
He was literally right there.
He was right there.
He was right in front of Johnny.
We were literally in eye view. So that's really bad. That's how the wave pool was cursed. We both had traumatic experiences. Thankfully, Doc's wasn't as bad, and it was an accident. A kid just menacingly done that deliberately to me, so I'll never get fully over that. That was very terrifying. But yeah, that's our cursed wave pool experiences.
Yeah, that's exactly why the wave pool is cursed. Every single incident, no matter what, has always happened in that damn wave pool. We've never had a problem in that little warm wave pool. Besides
me choking and me getting stopped. No pool is safe.
Not in Donnie's eyes.
No.
And now we move on from that topic. It says why we don't do physical therapy. We've talked about this in the past in old podcasts, I think.
Very simple.
But the reason why we're going to try to explain this because Jesus Christ, we spit on that wave pool topic. Well, it felt like forever.
We're 42 minutes in the podcast.
Oh my God. We talked about 2 things. So
no.
The reason why we can't physically do physical therapy is, number 1, we have both terminal diseases.
Yes.
And all of our muscles has atrophied to the point that we physically can hardly use them. The only really real physical therapy I can do is any activities based around my thumb.
And that's it.
But if we try to do any other therapy, physical therapy is supposed to help strengthen that or to try to move it more easily. Either we do ROM exercises, which is range of motion, to keep our range of motion intact, and stretching, but in actual physical therapy wise, we can't really fully do physical therapy due to the fact that me and Dottie really have no movement from the neck down, and most physical therapy utilizes around your core, your legs, your arm, and the best one of us, which is me, only has one little baby part of their arm, which is my thumb. And so you'd have to do little moving exercises with that thumb, or ROM exercises. However, we can't really do physical therapy just because of that reason. It won't benefit us in the long run because we can't use those muscles, and they're going to continue to atrophy and deteriorate as our ALS progresses. So, and our other things progresses. So, doing physical therapy isn't really a great option for us anymore.
No.
It just puts more wear and tear on our bodies and doesn't really give us a result at the end of the day when we're done with the therapy. We just feel more tired and exhausted than we usually are. So
rarely do it.
Yeah, so that is the primary reason why we don't do physical therapy. It's such a simple thing, really, because honestly we have terminal diseases and they're eventually going to take all our function as we get older, and eventually we just simply can't do it because we get no benefits from doing physical therapy, and the best really thing that we can do is really do ROM exercises,
which is stretching therapy,
range of motion exercises,
which is fine,
and do stretching. But the primary thing is we just can't do physical therapy, and that has been our thing. We kind of just stretch and do ROM.
Yep.
So that is the main reason why we cannot do physical therapy. And that is the end of the episode. That is all we have to talk about. It is the Festive episode number 2, and it is season 5. I cannot believe that we are ending season 4 and starting season 5. So what a great way to start season 5 when talking about Cursed and just our medical stuff and equipment. We've tried to talk about this more.
Yes.
Because I do know that people might have questions about it over time as we get older and deal with more problems. I do understand that people might have questions about it, so we want to just casually talk about it. If y'all want to listen or enjoy that, you can.
Yep.
I'm sure next podcast or tomorrow we'll have one about our catheters and all the medical issues that we face as a quadriplegic, I'm sure.
God.
So that one's going to be a bit of a doozy. So we do appreciate you all so much for watching this Festive episode. And that's primarily it. Thank you all so much for watching episode 80, and we will see you for episode 81 and Festive episode number 3.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.